You tune into KAPOW Plus and things are about to get loud and a little bit weird. This show is going to be about what happens when a rock band collides with the rest of the world. Hello, if you're new here, we are KAPOW, India's first ever theatrical comic rock band. Think rock concert meets comedy show meets crazy stage antics. Hello, I'm Prakhar, I'm the drummer of the band.
And I'm Saira, the bassist. Every week on KAPOW Plus, we sit down with someone from a completely different field. Think therapists, monks, tattoo artists, and we see how their world collides with ours. We play one of our songs for them and they give us their perspective. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's weird, but it always reveals something that we never expected.
We have songs for every emotion, songs for heartbreak, love, very chaotic songs, and rock songs. But the one that you're going to hear right now, this song has a very special place in our heart. It was recorded right in the middle of the pandemic and it has a very special place in our heart. The video of the song was also crowdsourced from our friends. We asked them to record themselves while listening to the song, how they felt, what emotions they felt, and the video really came out very well.
So this is also one of our most loved songs. It's one of our most streamed songs on Spotify, and wherever we go, no matter where in India, it's also a song that gets requested a lot. So here's Sab Sun Liya.
पलकें हूँ पलकें तो क्या हो, दीवाने दिल का हो राज। मुझसे तू पूछे गुम कहाँ हो, धीमे से आओ मेरे पास। आँखें तेरी सच कह रही, दिल ने मेरे सब सुन लिया। ख्वाबों को कब सजा हो गई, मेरे बिन जहाँ तूने क्यों चुन लिया। यादें हो यादें तो क्या हो, तू बन गया है मेरा। लबों पे आए तुम कहाँ हो, पल भर को थामो मेरा हाथ। आँखें तेरी सच कह गई, दिल ने मेरे सब सुन लिया। ख्वाबों को कब सजा हो गई, मेरे बिन जहाँ तूने क्यों चुन लिया।
So, how often does it happen that you actually meet somebody who makes you question your entire life? And call it like, a yin yang situation, call it like a soulmate. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic all the time, right? But you meet this person and they make you question a lot of things on a very, very fundamental, very, very fundamental level. So back in college, when I was deep into physics, obsessing over time, space, and figuring out what I have to do as I go on in life, and music back then was just an undercurrent, silently waiting. And somewhere in this academic maze, there was this another person, today's guest. who was also in love with music and physics and was trying his things out. And he became a physicist for now, I became a musician for now, and somehow we ended up asking the same question, just probably in different languages, as to what if we chose the other path. When we met finally, it was like meeting a version of ourselves that branched off and sort of kept running while we were battling those questions. And in a weird way, it did feel that we finally got some answers, finally got some closure, finally understood it a little bit better. So, this is Kapow Plus, a show where a rock band sits down with the rest of the world and tries to figure out how the music and their profession converge and diverge and just have a good chat. And this is Eternal Ramblings. So, our today's guest works on the very edge where time stops being just a feeling but becomes something more tangible, something much more measurable. He's a postdoctoral researcher in physics at UC Berkeley, where he studies atomic clocks and quantum metrology, building the tools that measure time with unparalleled precision. Before this, and this is no small feat, he has earned a PhD from MIT, where he helped improve the sensitivity of gravitational wave detectors. If you're confused, he'll tell us more about that, don't worry. So, he has worked at observatories, tuned into black holes, helped refine the way we track the passage of time, and still somehow find space to make music. He has bunch of projects, a lot of music, solo, in bands, in a lot of ways he's exploring even the musical side. So he's deeply also committed to science outreach and mentorship programs, making some of the most abstract concepts in physics a little less intimidating and a lot more human as well. So help me welcome a brilliant scientist, a thoughtful creator, a very close friend, someone who can really break down not just our songs but how humans perceive time. Let's call in Dr. Dhruva Ganapathy. So Dhruva, what time is it?
Hi, Mayank. Thanks for this introduction, dude. I was a better introduction than my advisor gave me during my defense. It's like, wow. I feel like, wow, start.
I know I really put a lot of thought into your introduction.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Because somehow this was way more personal for me, introducing you, and I was just very excited to get you on board. The moment we sort of reached out on Instagram and all, and you texted me, have you forgotten that I am a physicist, and I was like, no. You were probably like the first person that I thought of the moment this idea came along, that just another excuse to sit down with you for a couple of hours and just banter out, because we very rarely get those chance, the first time was back in Kolkata, the second time was also Vese Kolkata only.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time we met, and it was, I don't know how much of a surreal experience was it for you, but for me it was really, really surreal now that I look back upon it.
It was pretty surreal for me too. It was like, damn, dude. Like, this guy likes physics, but he's a musician. I like music, but I'm a physicist, and we both like anime. This is insane.
I know, right? And the one thing that really blew my mind that time when we were talking was our home screens, our home screens on our laptops, because you had that white background with the timer going up, and we opened.
Oh yeah.
And then while
Everyone
discussing
hates
something.
that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Then we opened my laptop too, because we wanted to you wanted to airdrop me. I was asking for a PDF file for a book, and you wanted to airdrop me, and I opened my laptop, and you're like, geez, dude, what's that? I'm like, it's a counter, just telling me how much time I have left. And it's black and yours is white, and it's a complementary yin yang sort of a system that we have built. And I agree with you, people hate that also. It just makes them somehow very
It's
nervous.
you switch on your laptop, and whenever I switch on Chrome and that thing pops up,
Yeah.
everyone's like, why haven't you removed it yet? Now, the thing is that for me, it's not actually serving any purpose. I mean, I put it when I was 20. I mean, it's 8 years ago now. And I was just like, okay, this is fun, it's it has big numbers.
Yeah.
And then I went to Caltech to do a internship. This is at the end of my third year. And the professor I was working with over there, he's like, there's no way you can tell your age to this level of precision. Like that's not possible. I mean, that those numbers are fake. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't like, you need to know like exactly which millisecond you were born in order to like know that.
True. But don't you think, like, the fact that I remember you asking me the same thing as to it's counting down to, like, my eventual death, very morbid, but you were like, how did you calculate that? What's the age that you're taking as to what it's counting down to? And I remember telling you that, I just like put in some random age like 75, 80 or something, because for me it was more like a reminder when I was using it. Now I have also stopped using it, by the way. But when I was using it, it was just more like a reminder that, oh, time is limited, and I used to be a bit more judicious. So don't you think you also started from that perspective, or was it like, really to measure the age
It
with
was very dumb. It was like I saw someone else with my badge using it, and I'm like, this looks cool.
Nice. So tell us, like, tell the listeners. I know a lot about you because we spent a lot of time talking, and from anime to physics to music, a lot of things. But I would like you to tell a little bit more about the musical side of things and what you actually do and the work that you're currently doing.
No, tough question. Because I mostly do nothing. I'm a lazy piece of shit. No, it's great. I was telling someone yesterday that, like, people think that grad school sucks because you're like, at least I don't know, in the US. I mean, I think grad school in India is actually scarier. But in the US, I mean, you see your friends, like, they're earning like, I think 4-5 times the amount that you are, and like, I had not that bad a time in terms of I got lucky with my group, I got lucky with my advisor. There wasn't too much pressure, but I've had friends who have had like awful times in grad school. They end up with a bad advisor or something, and then you just feel like you're slaving it away for like almost no money. My perspective has always been a little different because I've been lucky. So it's like, okay, I'm doing like, little work for little money, and now as a postdoc, I'm doing even littler work for a little more money. I feel great. Hey, by the way, if by any chance, if my advisor, if Shimon, if you tune into this, I swear I do a lot of work. It's not.
You don't know, but I get it. What you're trying to say. It's like, uh, for me also, it's mostly like that. The more work I do, and the more I progress, no, I feel like, the less and less work I'm doing. In the sense, I am doing a lot of things, and I still do a lot of things, but it just feels way less important now than it felt how important it was maybe a couple of years ago. So now it just feels like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm doing this, but maybe it's not that important as I was giving it importance maybe a couple of years ago. Is that something, yeah, that goes inside your brain?
My perspective on work and life has changed quite a bit. I think, first of all, I definitely think you are way more productive than I am. You use like fucking Notion and shit, stuff like that, right? You use like note taking apps, organizing apps. Yesterday, like, I was like with two really close friends, and I was like, guys, do you use calendars? Because I had another friend who had like, I wanted to like, hang out with like next week, and he's like, hey, let me just put it in my calendar. So I'm like, God damn, these guys have like social appointments in their calendar. So I asked like two of my close friends, I'm like, do you guys use calendars?
Yeah.
Like, meeting ke liye to use karna padta hai. I look at my calendar, and it's basically because I like just gave Berkeley access to my calendar. There's one seminar series. It's completely empty except for Wednesday, AMOQI seminar, and just that goes on for like 5 years at a stretch. And beach mein there's like Christmas, Durga Puja and things like that Google just automatically puts in your calendar.
But so yeah, I use all of these systems, but ये भी ना थोड़ा सा ऐसा सा सीन है मेरा कि I wasn't into all of this. Like, it's very, very recent, like maybe like 4 or 5 years, because usse pehle
Oh.
very unorganized, no clue, like, just I'll remember it sort of a mentality कि हाँ ठीक है, important होगा, याद रहेगा, क्यों क्यों लिखना क्यों है मेरे को कैलेंडर पे, no organizational system. But ये recent times में I don't know how long will I keep this up, because sometimes I do feel that I take just the organizing stuff and, like, putting it on calendar also as work. So it's like, my task manager is on Notion, which has a task in it which says, like, organize the other tasks, which just becomes very meta at that point. And I'm like, what's the utility of this? Am I just procrastinating in a more productive way at this point? So, like, I think there's a fine line about using these things and not getting lost in them, which I have crossed multiple times. So I'm not completely against the idea that, like, ki you see, like, you don't have to necessarily put things on calendar. After a point, it just becomes very inconvenient and ridiculous at that point. You can't live your life like that, right? So yeah. And but another question that just popped into my head is ki, as a musician, no, people do have some preconceived notions about what I do and how I function. So when I tell them, like, this is how I function, like, in a very organized motion, this and that, like, just, oh, you send me something or send me an email invite or something like that, and they're like, this is weird. Okay, most musicians don't
They're
function
like,
this way.
what are you, stockbroker? Email.
And so yeah, and other like, preconceived notion as to, like, people will come up to me and they're like, you wanna, I was like, what do I wanna like, just, like, get a bump, like, get a hit, like, something. I'm like, I don't do that. Like, and they're like, are you sure? You don't look like a person who doesn't use any enhancers on when you're on stage or when you're singing. I'm like, no, I don't. So I feel like,
You're
there are
actually good at it.
I enjoy it, so I don't need it.
And you're good at it. Okay, you'd like.
So I feel like, there must be some preconceived notions that come along with your trade as well. Ki, like, people, when you tell people, oh, I like, do this, I'm a physicist or whatever, and people do have certain things that they assume that you do. Yeah, and what are
Hmm.
those?
I'll have to think, because it's okay. Just to be completely honest, like, the more you get subsumed into the world of, like, academia and all, you start talking to people outside less and less. Like, you do. I mean, I have a lot of friends, but, like, none of them asking you what I'm doing. I mean, like,
Hmm.
it's all my, like, college friends and all, and they sort of know. I mean, a lot of them work in tech and stuff. I was basically asked if, like, I know when I said I was a postdoc, it's like I was
Hmm.
asked if I do ML,
Hmm.
and I'm like, how, right? You know, I think it's like, especially if you come out of the whole IIT system,
Hmm.
somehow, like, the idea of doing, like, not and like, not monetizable
Yeah.
STEM
Hmm.
is just alien to people. They're like, "Oh, what's
Oh,
the real
interesting.
world application of what?" Yeah, they're like, "What's the real world application of whatever you're doing?" I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't have to actually tell people what the real world application. I still
Ah,
get money
true.
without having to
Yeah.
tell people. I mean, I do have an argument for
Hmm.
why I do physics. We can
Hmm.
get back to that when
Yeah.
when I'm talking more about physics. But, like, so I'm very confident in the kind of work I do.
Hmm.
I think, people have a lot of, like, hard, like, people have a lot of ideas of what it means to do physics. I mean, it's very different to different people in the field.
Hmm.
I'm an experimentalist. It's very different to for a theorist. I think, they treat physics very differently. For me, the social aspect of it is very important. I like working with a lot of people.
Hmm.
Like, my lab group, it's like, right now in the lab, it's like mostly 2 graduate students and 2 postdocs, and we all, like, work together. We have, like, it's like working with friends, and for me that's, like, very important.
Hmm.
um but yeah, people, some people, obviously, if you've seen, like, enough popular media, you start assuming that, yeah, okay, I'm like staring at a whiteboard. I do stare at whiteboards sometimes, and this is for the stupidest questions. Like, you won't believe the kind of things that physicists, like especially experimental physicists, look at whiteboards for. They're like, okay, this is exaggerating, but it's usually on the lines of like, yeah, is like sine x actually like increasing that much at that? It's like the most basic questions, really the most basic questions. Like, yeah, what was this like? Where did this factor of 2 come from? It's factors of 2 are like insane, whether you miss them and all, and then you're like, but it's not any of this. Yeah, here is my like space time black hole stuff like that. You know,
Of
I
course,
think
of course, yeah.
that like the people who do that low-key insane. I no, that's a joke. I have a friend. I have a really good friend who does like string theory and stuff. And it's like they're very cool. This is they're in a different world. I mean, they're like at that point you should be doing maths, not physics.
I agree with you, man. Like, there's this joke that I often come around and even tell people often that all STEM subjects, like, just like, are wearing this mask, and the moment you remove this mask, it's maths behind. Like, it just stares at you, like, you just remove the mask and you're like, oh. So that was one of my problems as well back when I was trying to get into QFT, and I was staring at the math and, like, just doing it. It makes logical sense. I can go from step A to step B, but somehow I couldn't grasp the mathematics. It was just like, wait, I get the logical implications of this, but this math is getting out of hand. It was only like, maybe like, months later, when I was just staring and talking to a friend of mine on the phone, that I was just flipping pages and suddenly, like, something connected, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Finally, like, I understand at least a bit of it. So that was the moment that I understood how important math is gonna be going forward if I want to really, really do something in physics. And that just scared the shit out of me, honestly saying, for a while at least. But yeah, I agree with you. Math does creep up. So इससे मेरे को एक चीज याद आई. So growing up, while you were in school, like I come across a lot of musicians, right? And somehow, like, more musicians hate math than they love it. There's this like little niche musician group that is like, oh, I appreciate maths at least because I can see it being applied in music also in some ways. But most of them,
Isn't that like the future now of like, or like people who do like jazz fusion and like a
exactly.
lot of these things, like, we're playing like really metric modulation. Honestly, it's a musical term, but it sounds like it's coming out of
Yeah,
physics. It's
true.
like, yeah, I have a fucking black hole that's like modulating the space-time metric. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Everyone's just counting in their head, like, oh yeah, quintuplets, and they go over sextuplets or whatever. Like, yeah. So I thought that more musicians would like math now.
I mean, I know people who love jazz, but like are just very, very away, like, stay away from mathematics at all points. And I'm like, this is strange to me. Like, from what little I even enjoy music, I do see math being applied to it in some shape or form. And the moment I see somebody producing music or, like, working on music in some way, it's just there. I see, like, the saw waves and the sine waves and the Fourier transform happening right in front of me, and it's just interesting. But somehow, like, not every musician I have seen kind of understands it from a very mathematical or physics standpoint of it. But that's the thing. I feel like, because of the little knowledge that I have about the physics and mathematics of it, it just has changed how I listen to music nowadays, right? So for a person like you who is very much into the field of physics and mathematics, do you feel like music has changed in some way and you listen to it differently than maybe, like, somebody not from your field would?
I actually keep these two worlds pretty separate. Like, so like I wrote like the one like solo project I've tried to publish is all about space. And people think because I like, I'm into like astrophysics. And I was like, that like I inspired some of the songs, but the songs themselves weren't really about space. Yeah. So I just okay. For me, I think music is like it elicits an emotional response that math doesn't for me. Like,
Hmm.
I like math. I really do like math. But that math is not why I do physics, and it's not why I do music. Like, physics for me is a lot of other things. I think it's like um I'm an experimentalist. Like, I like working with lasers. I like seeing
Hmm.
nice colors. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I have like, for me that's like, and it sounds stupid. There's no actual, like, there's no scientific value in just being like, I like that my experiment, like, I can see a glowing ball of strontium atoms. It looks cool, but like, that's what makes it fun for me. I mean, like, it's and the one thing that for me ties music and physics together is actually like the collaborative aspect of it. The
Hmm.
fact that nothing you ever do will be truly original because it can't.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
you both like schools, and I would call music a school of knowledge because it is
Hmm.
like an age-old tradition in so many cultures. And even our modern music, like, the tradition of it is so rich. You have so many people making so much music right now. I think that's like one of the best things that has happened in the last like 15 years is like, it's just easy to make music now. Everyone
Yeah.
can like make a small like bedroom studio setup, whatever.
Hmm.
You don't need to like, if you just want to make music, you don't need to have contacts. You don't need to be like from like, you don't need to be from money or anything. You can just make music, and that's led to such an outpour of like really good music. I mean, the more accessible you make something, just the better it is, especially when it comes to like art, creative expression. And it's quite, this case with physics is quite similar. There's so many people who do
Hmm.
physics right now. You find so many, like, it might seem like a small field to people from the outside, but like, I spend my day only with physicists, and most of
Hmm.
whom don't work on on what I'm working on.
Hmm.
Because you go to these seminar series, you go to these colloquia, you form like connections outside your group. You have friends in other groups and other universities, and it's just great because like, yeah, you are connected by stuff that is more than just the work you do, but that like, it's like everyone is like in it together, sort of like everyone probably has very different reasons for why they do physics.
Hmm.
That's also one of those things that like, I don't think the view that like, you're doing physics, that means you must be like a science nerd. Like,
Hmm.
you must like be inspired by, like, I don't know, Carl Sagan or
Hmm.
like stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
people do physics for very different reasons.
Hmm.
um but you're still like, fundamentally, unless like, you're still hacking away at like some quote unquote universal truth.
Hmm.
And it's a collaborative process. It's like you build upon work that's been done by people. Like, I
Yeah.
think,
Hmm.
we take it really lightly, but I think one of my favorite like um music music content creators, Adam
Hmm.
Levy.
Oh,
The
nice. Yeah.
he's I mean, he has so much insight. I sometimes I just think he's just like, he's a wannabe academic. Like, he's too busy to be an academic because he's
Yeah.
a musician.
A
But
musician.
he
Yeah.
he would do he would fit so well into academia in general.
Academia. Yeah.
Because, and he mentioned that at some point, it's like, and this thing, I don't know, this is a little bit of a tangent, but like,
Hmm.
there was like a bunch of lawsuits between like major label groups and small artists saying that, yeah, you have like, you have copied this like chord sequence, so this is
Hmm.
like a infringement of intellectual property or
I
whatever.
remember that.
And
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, that's bullshit, because like, everything is inspired, like nothing is original. You build up on like, things like that are only important when you like try to, um giving credit where credit is necessary is very important. I think, you give credit to all your inspirations as
Hmm.
much as you can, but also like, it like, I think things like that only make sense like, from a societal point of view, like, things like intellectual property protection and all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When you're like trying to protect smaller artists, people from being exploited by large media
Corporations,
conglomerates,
yeah.
like large media labels. Like, I guess, like, I mean, now because of YouTube's content ID, like the Universal Media Group is just pushing out like copyrights and demonetization strikes on YouTube all the time.
All the time.
Um, like I know this because, and I think for me it doesn't really matter because I don't make any money off music, and I don't. That's why that also makes me, but it also makes me think, like, when people are really into physics and not making money off it, I'm like, yeah, you do this shit for like no money. I'm sure people think about this. People
Yeah,
would
yeah.
say that it's the same for music.
Hmm.
But I did like a cover of a song by The Contortionist, which, it is a cover. It's been credited as a cover completely,
Yeah, yeah.
but it has none of like the instrumentation of the original. Like, it has the structure, it has the lyrics, it has the progressions, but the instrumentation is completely switched out. So it's like the original song is like, a sort of a dark progressive metal-ish, but not super metal. And the version I did with my friend is a almost completely electronic version. Something with a lot of synths in it and stuff like that. Within 2 days of it being on YouTube, it's like copyright claimed. I'm like,
Yeah.
interesting, like, not that I want to make money off it, but like, why does whoever, like Universal Media Group, care so much about like what some guy with like 3 followers is doing on his, like, like, come on, like, who are you protecting? Like I and this band is a band I have like so much respect for, and the music, and I've actually had the privilege of seeing them here in the US, and actually got VIP tickets, so I like said hi to all of them.
Nice.
And they're like such cool guys. I don't think they give a shit. I don't give a shit, but Universal Media Group suddenly gives a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like you take something that is so human, the thing that you are inspired by something else, and you want to build up on it in whatever way possible. You want to perpetuate a tradition, something that is like generations and generations of like knowledge and influence has gone into making any piece of art that's inspired. And like, you have these large media structures just like coming and like, yeah, but what about the money? It's like, come on, dude. Like, yeah, fund the arts. Honestly, fund the arts. The most important thing, I think, funding the arts is as important as funding basic sciences, because those two things are like the most human things you can do.
Human things, yeah.
Instead, people are funding like whatever. Like, I'm going to use AI to deliver people's post for them and stuff like that. Like, that's not a fundamental human thing. That's like the stuff that someone like sitting in a room bored of their coding job is like, bro, how can I quote unquote make the biggest impact ever by increasing shareholder? I'm gonna get a lot of hate from this.
No, do that.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone is just like, yeah, bro, like, I shit you not. Now, I lived in like here, this city,
Yeah.
Massachusetts, where I'm in. Wonderful city, it's like, it's mostly just university people, so everyone is just chill and all. But like, because once I moved to Berkeley for my postdoc, it's right next to SF, and I have friends in FF. I have some really nice friends in SF. Like, so through them, you like end up meeting a whole bunch of people. All of them like live in a completely different world, and like ask them like, what are you into? Like, what's your work and stuff? You're grown up. You have to ask people what they work on. You can't ask them what their favorite anime is or something like that, and they'll be like, okay,
I think that should be normalized as well, because I know, like, we were
it
talking.
should be normalized, but people aren't cool here. People are
I
like,
know.
people are so high strung. I mean, like, you ask them what they're doing, they're like, oh, I do B2B. What the fuck is B2B, bro? It's like, I keep hearing B2B all the fucking time, like it. Have you seen Severance?
I haven't. Like, see,
This TV show.
honestly, these days, like, I haven't seen anything. So, I watch things that I really, really want to watch. So, I hardly go on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
मैं तो दान देखा क्या? I
That
will tell you
Dana,
what
I told you, I saw it. Like, I got hooked
Oh,
to
you
it.
watched
And
it?
yeah,
It's so good, right? It's
I
so
know.
good.
And season 2 is coming, so I'm excited for that, and planning to read the manga as well. But exactly, so it has to come from things I watch have to either like, I find them and they're like, nobody's talking about them, and even if they're talking about it, it's not like just like, I wouldn't watch something just because it's there. So if I'm watching something, it has to be recommended by somebody I care about, or it is to be something I found by my own efforts, or like, just got interested in. Just because not in a habit of कि हाँ ठीक है कुछ कर नहीं रहे, Netflix खोलते हैं, अरे क्या चल रहा है, अरे चलो इस पे click करते हैं. That's
I don't do that either. I just like,
yeah.
I'm a
So I get what you're saying, no? Ki, it's just like, people should normalize, like, first of all, watching anime, talking about anime. I think it's one of the very cool art forms there,
you
media
say
forms.
that. I say that. People like even I have very close friends and they're like,
Yeah.
"Kya weeb insaan hai yaar." I'm like, "Huh, who am I weeb?"
I am to now a
But I'm
proud
watching.
boy.
But I'm not watching like that. Those freaky ass anime things, like like my girlfriend is a cat and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm watching good anime, like or on the
Reincarnated.
movements of Earth and stuff.
I mean, yeah, so it's, and no matter what the art form is, whether it's movies, books, or anything, there will be certain things that I think you should just avoid. Like, when it comes to movies, also, you just find good stuff. Okay, occasionally, you can watch,
Huh.
like, just to pass time, whatever.
It's like seriously, like no one's interested in anime until fucking OpenAI comes up with a Studio Ghibli filter, and now everyone's like, "Mere ko Studio
Exactly, no?
Ghibli karna hai." And like, I was so angry. I was so angry. I was like, ab se, I was like, if you give me a
Hmm.
Molotov cocktail, it would go straight across the bay into OpenAI's offices.
See, that's the thing, no? Like, I don't.
Okay, for legal purposes, this is a joke.
So, like,
I'm not committing arson.
from what I've heard, like, your feelings towards AI and all, like, you said fund the sciences and fund the arts. I completely agree with it, but I am like a tech guy. I really love what's been happening in the AI space and the tech
I mean,
space.
AI is not bad. Like, I
Exactly.
also use ChatGPT. I'm like, I give it some code
Hmm.
without telling it what to do with it. And then I was like, yeah, just like make it fast and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with any technology, it's just about how many, like, I don't like the usage that some people do with it, but that's something I can't control. It's the same as internet. When internet came, like, there were some good things about it, but it mostly got used in a lot of ways that a lot of people were not happy about. So I think it's the same with AI for me. Like, that Ghibli filter thing did make me a lot cynical, like, in the sense ki, how much effort it takes, like, few of their movies, few of their frames.
So I think, tech again, like I came up in tech schools. I mean, like I think UC Berkeley is the first proper university I've been to. All the other two places like IIT and MIT were both IT, Institutes of Technology. So obviously I've been surrounded by this, like, deep learning became a thing in like my second year of college when this AlphaGo defeated the main Go guy, and it's like, okay, this stuff is like getting somewhere now. But I think that all this technology, you can't prevent it from existing. It can definitely be used for good. It's just like that's why you do things like fund the arts and fund basic science and like teach people how to be humans, like teach people like basic media literacy before you do any of this. Like. So they're not using these cool technological tools to consume like absolute slop.
Exactly.
And I consume a lot of brain rot. But I'm still media literate about it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just see things from like a critical perspective. Like, yeah, sure, AI is good, but if you like start using it to like predict what kind of cookies I want to eat, then you've lost the plot. It's
Fair
like
enough.
then you learned how to code and nothing else in college. It's basically that. I'm like, come on, you can do so much, like, and we're all told, like, cream of nation, whatever the bullshit we're given in our first year. I mean, a cream of nation, आधे लोग तो end up in consulting and then they don't like it, so they quit and they start a startup or join another startup. And then you ask them, like, what they're working on, they're like, bro, B2B and stuff like that. Like, okay. And then And then 2 years later, you ask them, they move to another startup. I'm like, क्यों अच्छा
Hmm.
नहीं लग रहा था? Like अच्छा लग रहा था, but growth नहीं हो रहा था. I'm like, भाई क्या growth यार? I'm like, I've been doing the same job for 6 years, ठीक है?
Hmm.
And I'm doing just more of that, and I'm just working less and less progressively. And ये लोग पता नहीं, they still like, they're like almost 30 now, and they're like, hey, ऐसे, I haven't found my niche yet and stuff like that. I'm like, you don't really just have a good time in life now, मतलब.
I mean, yeah, like for you and for me, I know, like, these things have sort of come naturally, and like, now I'm grateful about it. I used to, like, talk to people, and I would, like, find things like that old cliched saying ki, okay, if you enjoy what you're doing, it's more like play, you don't really feel like you're working, and it's easier to sustain it for a long time. And I realized how alien of that, like, this sort of an idea is for most people. That work can be something enjoyable. You can do things which are not to be monetized at the end of the day, which are not, you are not doing because it will allow you to do something else. Like, recently only I was learning Japanese. I told you, like, I just got into it and started enjoying learning it. Not because, like, I want to monetize it in some way. Somebody's like, oh, how will it help you, like,
I get
when
the
you learn?
exact same question. I get the
I know.
exact same question when I tell people I've been doing Japanese on daily. They're like, "Kyun?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I had nothing to do. That's why. And they're like, "Oh, do you want to go to Japan and move there?" I'm like, "Nay, I do not really."
Yeah, so and the question was like, ki, oh, will it help you do something, or maybe, like, get something? Are you planning to monetize it in some way? No, I haven't thought about. I'm doing it because it's just
Yeah, I'm
fun.
going to be a UN translator. Before AI can start doing those translations, I am going to go there. I'm going to actually be the Hindi to Japanese translator.
So that's the thing, no? The idea of doing something just because you enjoy, which, like, idea of doing, not just doing something, but doing something which is slightly bit more academic, or, like, requires a little bit more effort or energy in, like, discipline, I don't know, is something very, very alien to a lot of people I've come across. Like, it's just,
Uh-huh.
it's like the idea of fun is to just sit in front of Netflix and probably watch something. I do that, but there are other
That's
forms
fun.
of fun as well. Yeah.
Okay, not Netflix. Netflix is actually shit these days. It's like,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
all the good shows are not on Netflix now.
I know, right? All the movies I go looking for, like, they're not there. The shows are not there. The anime is not
Yeah.
updated enough. Like, I'll be like, oh, the episode is out, but it's not there on Netflix yet. Okay, cool. I'll have to wait another 2 weeks. So I'll go and watch it somewhere else.
Yeah, I was just going to say that like media consumption is also like, it can be a process. Like I like, so one thing I am quite privileged to have here in the US is unka PVR is this thing called AMC.
Hmm.
And basically they have something called an A-list pass where for like actually pretty less money, uh for the cost of almost like 1.5 movies, you can watch up to a month. You can watch up to 4 movies a week, like 3 movies
Hmm.
a week. So I actually just go to the theater a lot to watch movies now. Like,
Hmm.
I like watching TV shows and stuff at home, but like movies, I go to the theater. And
Hmm.
they're not necessarily good movies. Like some of them are absolute crap. Some of them are really good, but I just like, I have so much appreciation for the big screen now. And
Yeah.
like now I feel like, it's so cool. Like movies are so cool. People like put so much work, time, effort into it. Like someone has a vision and they're trying to execute, and they have these really talented actors. And I'm just like, I'm so impressed. I'm
Hmm.
so impressed. Like, I think like this, it's such a good, like, and like people have that. Like most people I know are like into something or the other like that. Like, and like for some people it's like reading books, they're really into books. um some people are really into video games. I think, I had like a video game phase this early this
Yeah.
year, and they're
Hmm.
like masterpieces. Like some of them are like masterpieces. You're like,
Good. So
these
such
days
such good storytelling. Yeah. Hmm.
everyone is creating such good art. I mean, like, I think, just like being like able to consume art is such a privilege. It's like such like, you're so lucky, if you're not like someone like me. And like I don't live in a war zone. I have like, I don't need to think about my like where my food is coming from. So I'm lucky enough to do that. Now let me just like, like enjoy life, enjoy what it means to just live, just like watch TV, go to restaurants, eat food, spend time with friends. Like, you don't need to be productive. I was talking to this one guy and he was like, he feels like life is like, weeks are just going past, nothing's happening. Like, dude, you're not even 30, like, come on. Like, you have like energy and time to spend, like, play
Yeah.
video games or something, right?
Hmm.
And then he was like, but it's like not productive and stuff. I'm like, like, come on, like, what is productive to you? Like, it's
Hmm.
like, like, I don't know, like, shareholder value increase as productive for people. And like, what, like, like, fuck this capitalist world, honestly. That's like, it's like, and I'm not like virtue signaling or anything. It's just like,
Hmm.
you see, people could just be living better lives.
True. I mean, see, like personally, I am a huge proponent of like be productive and like productivity this and that, like let's be productive together. But uh, it comes like it is not in the sense, okay, you're doing things that you don't enjoy and
But
you're
you're
just
doing
like
it for yourself, right? You define your own value, dude. You're a
exactly.
musician. You're not like trying to define like shareholder. You're not trying to get like someone else to define your value based on what product you're releasing. You make music
Exactly.
for yourself, and then people like me like it, and it connects us. And I think that that's great. Like, that is what I think that is what work is. Like, whatever work
Exactly,
should be, I
yeah.
think.
So when I say I'm like let's do something productive, or I'm being productive, or like this productivity, whatever, it's more about doing things that I enjoy more at the end of the day. And like I'm not
Yeah.
trying, just improving them for not for like ki it'll deliver me this result or that result, just because I enjoy the process that involves me like figuring out those problems, and like figuring out, okay, how will this be this way or something. It's just like something that I enjoy. So in that sense of a way. So now like I we have talked a lot about it. So there's this song that we wrote. It was like one of the first songs that I actually wrote, honestly. It was not
Mm-hmm.
even a song, if I'm being honest with you. It was more like just a sort of like a prose that I wrote, because I was going through this dilemma back in 2018 ki music karna hai ya physics karna hai. And if I do music, like what will people think after all the academic stuff I have been building up to all this while, like telling people, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And suddenly I'm like, okay, I'm not doing any of that shit, and like I'm doing this. And that was one of the things that we talked about also for the first time we met, ki this sort of decision that both of us sort of made in some capacity, ki okay, kya karna hai aage, like music or physics. And we ended up doing both, but in different
I
capacities.
mean, you're giving me more credit than I deserve. Like, I'm sure you thought about this stuff. I was like, hey, that's
यार
like,
नहीं.
I'm not, I'm like, it's like, लोग बोल रहे हैं, भाई, तू अच्छा है ना, अकेडमी
Hmm.
में, तो
Hmm.
जाके तू कर सकता है ना ग्रेड स्कूल. I'm like, हाँ, right?
हाँ, तो मेरे साथ भी यही हुआ ना, बस म्यूजिक के केस में, कि हाँ तू लिखता है ना गाने एंड यू सिंग वेल, नो, सो करना, मतलब म्यूजिक कर, कब करेगा, नहीं करेगा तो कर लियो एकेडमिक्स बाद में. हम लाइक हाँ, मतलब कर सकते हैं ट्राई. सो इट वाजंट लाइक or now in retrospect, yes, a lot of thought has been given to it, but that moment, no, actually it was more of a plunge into something unknown sort of a situation. And so all of those emotions were something that I was really really struggling with. So we wrote this song called Sultana, which was like about this protagonist, like leaving the world of comfort, and like heading into something unknown, and not knowing how things will go, and eventually sort of finding like a new beginning. It ends in a hopeful way, but in a vague sort of a way, where there's some clarity but not sure what exactly. So just being
Mhm.
okay with the choice, not happy with the choice, but just being okay and accepting the choice that you have made of moving away from things. So before we dive
Mhm.
into like a much more deeper conversation with the song as the context, let's make sure everyone, the listeners, you, me, just have a recap of that. So let's play Sultana by KAPOW.
Silhouettes of broken dreams dark shadows coloring the canvas. Look out your eyes to see the sun with heavy feet on a sea of sand, walking endlessly for a miracle. No hope for you in the melting pot of insanity. No place to hide, no place to run.
Dream your life away.
Can't you see?
Waiting for the fade.
I've given up what you see.
Dream your life away.
World of lies.
Is it worth the pain?
This world is your enemy. Now that you see in the back of your mind, you're just a tourist in your own life. Everything you do closes doors ahead of you, till there's only one to get you through. So sleep, the desert's calling. Sleep, just dream. The world is falling tree. No fears, no lies. Just close your
Slowly the sunrise rises behind me and giving birth to my new shadow. Colors unimaginable. They are staining my monochrome sorrow. Slowly the sunrise rises behind me and giving birth to my new shadow. Colors unimaginable. They are staining my monochrome sorrow. Colors
So you tuned in to Kapow Plus, a show where a rock band collides with the rest of the world, and we have Dr. Dhruva here with us. And we just heard Sultana by Kapow. So let's hear what he has to say about the song before we dive deeper.
So,
So Dhruva, take over.
I mean, I've told you this, but I like when I found out who you were and what your band is, I went and listened. And I'm like, I went through the album and I was like, this song Sultana is great. Like, it's so good. It's like it reminds me of so much of what I like in music. Like, you have like a quiet start and then you have this break and build up. Like earlier I'd mentioned the Contortionists as a band. They have a song called Ebb and Flow, which follows the same structure. It's just like it
interesting.
starts kind of quiet. It's a very different vibe, but it follows the same structure. And suddenly you have all of these. You have this like wall of sound coming through with all these guitars, and like the thing that you have in the end, like the sort of the rhythm change, like the pulse change. You have these like interesting like da 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 stuff like that. Like you change to like from like a 6/8 feel, you change to like I guess like a almost a 4/4-ish feel.
4/4 sort of a.
And that's like that is just like I just like it so much. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that it's like all the music I listen to, not all, but like a lot of the music I listen to, a lot of the artists I really like do things like that, and it's just so good. It's like top-notch production, really good. I like the layered vocals in the end. It's like that reminds me of like I don't listen to that much like Porcupine Tree or Steven Wilson anymore, but that like really that was a really solid
Oh
throwback to
damn! Oh
that.
nice. Could be very interesting observation there, because that was the time where I was also sort of like a little obsessed with everything Porcupine Tree and
Yeah,
Steven
it's just like the
Wilson
song
for that matter.
Mellotron Scratch has like the same
Yeah.
like
Oh nice! I love that song.
cascading vocals at the end, stuff like that. So I think
Yeah.
like that was
Oh damn!
yeah. So just saying,
You're telling me. You're
your
telling
song
me.
is solid, bro.
You're telling me things about my own song that now that you're saying it, it makes a lot of sense. I'm like, oh yeah, it does make sense. Porcupine Tree, yes, it does make sense. Mellotron Scratch. Oh yes, I was obsessed with this song. So probably, and this brings me back to the discussion we were having, no, ki, all art sort of builds upon itself, and not just art, like even science builds upon
Humans,
itself.
like
So
you are a mosaic of everything and everyone you have loved.
exactly. So, recently I was entertaining sort of this notion where the big science these days happens like, as a collaborative effort, like, a lot of people are involved. Probably the age of having a lone theoretical physicist, like, working on something and making a breakthrough. Is it like, really gone? Because, like, that was something
It
I
is
was
gone
wondering
because they were
about.
all like old white dudes, and the moment the woke police entered physics, now somehow minority is also doing physics. So how can you make a minority a star, right? No, it's
But yeah,
yeah, no, it is collaborative because it's shit's hard now, yeah. Like I mean, they were working with like Newton was like, okay, first of all, mad respect for Newton. I've been thinking about this. It's completely non-trivial that you see like an apple fall to the ground. I mean, that's like fine, but like trying to relate that to how the planets move around you, that's not trivial at all. People somehow think that yeah, I would have figured that out. I used to think that I would have figured that out when I get smart guy. I know what it is now. But yeah, I'm just like they were working with a lot less, like just like
yeah.
these guys were discovered like the electrons and like stuff, and Niels Bohr has come up with like the shell model, and like bro, have you even heard of the hyperfine structure and stuff like that? I think he did. I'm no shit in Niels Bohr. I'm just like bro, but like I like we're cooling strontium atoms to like micro Kelvin now. Like we have magneto optical traps. These guys would like it's like if you showed like an old like ragtime musician, they were really good at that time, but if you just show them like if you show them like I don't know, if you show them like techno or something, they won't be able to comprehend it. They'll be like, this is wild. I mean, but that's the thing, like now it's a little complicated now. You can't do it alone, like you just like and physics is in no way complete right now. It remains as incomplete as it was before. It's just like it's become really hard to do experiments. So, and even to do theory. So I think I know more theorists who like I think are more solitary in their work. Actually, a lot of them they have a lot of close theorists, and they're usually in their office with their whiteboard alone, and then you come and distract them from their work, and they're like, okay. And that's the only human interaction they have in the day.
Wow.
But no,
Okay, I thought
science
it
is
was
collaborative.
mostly, I thought like, mostly like, the recent, say, portrayal of the lone theorist was more of a romanticized idea, especially like, in the recent times at least. Because I get it, like, from like, initially earlier, yes, because they were working with way less and a lot more people, a lot less
I also
people
do
were
think
doing
that,
it.
like, again, like, we think of them as lone theorists, but a lot of them did work together. Like, especially, like,
Exactly.
people think about,
Yeah.
like, the 1920s, 1930s, like, that picture of the Solvay conference with, like, Fermi, Dirac, Einstein,
yeah.
like, all of these, I mean, they did work together. And if, like, someone was, like, truly just working alone, it's probably, like, an asshole. Like, didn't have any friends or anything like that. Like, come on, like, if you have friends in your field, you'll work with them. Like, come on, like, that's like a no-brainer.
Exactly,
It's always better to work with friends, right?
That's what I'm saying, no? Ki most of this portrayal is the romanticized version that we see on media, because I'm pretty sure, like, most of these ideas were being bounced off each other, and like that's how they were
I
built.
mean, I do.
Even
Okay,
back then, like even in the early 20s.
I do feel like there's
Hmm.
value in having a role model. Like, for even for me, like growing up, like there's a lot of these physicists have served as like, inspirations.
Which
Like
one? Which one? Name them.
like now my role models are completely changed, so it's very hard to say. And now my role models
Of
are people
course,
I've
yeah.
worked with, like people like,
Hmm.
not necessarily people pushing the most papers or like but like
Hmm.
just like the nicest people I've worked with who are both smart, are able to make connections between many different fields, but also are like genuinely good people. And I guess in hindsight, I've heard like I don't know who these like how these guys were in 1930s, but I've heard Dirac was like nice, like people like Dirac. Um,
Hmm.
but then again, like we have people like Stark, who we have the Stark effect. He was a fucking Nazi, dude. Like he was actually a Nazi. But like they couldn't come up with a new name for it, so we still have to stay stuff like EC Stark shift and stuff like that, which is
But yeah, so like
so go.
tell me like some of your role models, like currently, like maybe like one person that comes to your mind.
I want to like
People should know. I mean,
I don't want to give people
oh,
like
okay, too.
non-consensual publicity in any way. No, there are people I work like. Okay, I would say this much. Okay, my thesis is public. It's on
Hmm.
the internet. Like everyone's thesis is usually public. You search my thesis, there's
Yeah.
an acknowledgement page that is like there's an acknowledgement section that's 2 pages long. The first paragraph is acknowledging all my mentors and people who have been inspiring to me. Those names are there. Like, it's out there in public.
What do people have to like say type in to get to that if
Just
they want
type
to?
my name, Dhruv
People like me.
Ganapathy
People like
thesis.
me.
Dhruv Ganapathy thesis. If that doesn't come up, then just put MIT after that. The actual thesis title is a little painful. It's like expanding the reach of quantum enhanced gravitational wave detectors. And the only interesting
That's
part
not.
in most theses is
Hmm.
the acknowledgement section. Everything else is like
I mean, cool. Like I'm pretty sure like if like people like me who just want to learn more about it, just like are into it, would love to Google your name
I
and
would
like
say
just find that thesis and read.
my thesis defense is on YouTube because I think that was like one of the best talks I've given.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that because
Oh, wow. Okay.
that was all for like friends and family, and I assumed that
Hmm.
my committee had actually read my thesis before that. Even if they hadn't, I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm going to assume you've read it, so I'm not going to give a technical talk because you guys know the technical details. I'll give a talk
Hmm.
that's understandable to friends and family because that's what my defense is for. It's like it's the closest thing you can have to like, like an actual like it's like almost ritualistic. It's like like a person like me for whom like the prospect of something like a wedding is so
Yeah.
far in like the unknown regions of imagination. So you need something to make you feel special, right? And like
Fair
a
enough.
thesis
Yeah.
defense is like the perfect thing.
Nice. First of all, like I've been extremely cautious up till now, and I've been warned explicitly by my band members to not get into my love of physics with you because then they're worried that this might never end. So I'm controlling myself into getting into.
Tell them to like join in, like they can learn something.
Fair enough, like but okay, cool. So
Physics is cool.
keeping things.
My young's band members, physics is
Ah.
cool.
But honestly, like I would love to talk about your music as well because I remember you
Music
making
is
me
also
listen to a
cool.
couple of tracks. Even yeah. So tell me a bit more about your music. Like jog my memory. Of course, the
Okay, so
people listening also can know
my
a little
music
bit more.
kind of sucks compared to mine. Just telling everyone, it's good. Like I'm proud of it, but I'm not a professional like it. So
It's not a comparison. Like as you said, each like all art has a space. All art has audience. Like statistically also.
yeah, I
Like,
have like
no matter what you
2
create.
listeners on Spotify every month. At least they keep coming back. So I'm like, that's great.
But yeah. So tell us more about your music.
So
as I
okay,
would say.
a little bit about like my history with music is basically, I guess when I was 8, my parents would like take keyboard classes. No, so I took keyboard classes. And then I took violin classes for like 1 year when I was like 9. And then I started doing piano classes then. And then I took a little bit of a break, and then I did more piano classes from like age 14 to 20. And I was really serious about it. I was learning a lot of Western classical. I was like, I was doing all the exams, the Trinity Guildhall stuff. I had done grade 8 when I was in 12th and preparing for JEE. I'd done the grade 8 exam also. I was like, dude, this is like,
Look at you, like, just casually mentioning, like, difficult things that people struggle with so much. He's like, my music is not good, but yeah, like, I just
but that was
cleared, like,
okay.
while I was studying for JEE.
As in terms of like my ability level as a pianist, that's just gone down after that. But in college,
Yeah.
in college, like,
No, I remember you, like, we were discussing about Chopin and, like, a lot more classical music when we first met, and you were like, oh, let me just whip it out, like, let me just play a piece, and you told me, like, okay, I'll be rusty and this and that, but trust me, like, from where I was standing, like, you were doing a pretty hell of a job. Okay, so that was impressive what you played. Okay, cool.
thank you.
Like, maybe here
I
and there.
will
Yeah,
take the
but yeah.
compliment. I won't push back against it. If you insist, I will humbly accept your appreciation.
But yeah, so
In college, so okay, one of my main issues with college was like the music club was so scattered when I joined, but then I have some very good friends who like actually turned it all around. And but the issue was there were no pianos in the music club, so I'd start playing on keyboards.
okay.
And me, as someone who was like, oh, I only play on like weighted keys and stuff like that, I had a hard time. I was a bitch about it, but like, but no, but then I started playing with other people, and I also started like listening to a lot of music at that time. Till then, I was mostly just listening to either Western classical music or Pink Floyd. Like I had gone through the entire Pink Floyd discography so many times.
Oh, nice, amazing.
And
Tell me your favorite song, like quickly, like, top favorite,
song,
whatever
like, I
comes
would
to
say
your mind.
I'm an album person. Like, so I think the best constructed.
Okay,
and
tell
this
me
is
the
like,
album.
this is like,
Yeah.
it's not insightful at all. But the best constructed album is like Dark Side of the Moon. No, the best executed album is Dark Side of the Moon. The most ambitious and I think one of the most impressive projects they've made is The Wall. Something that's like personally very impactful to me is the final cut, because I was just like at a point in life where it was like it played a huge part in my life at that point. But like I also like Echoes a lot, that 26-minute song, which 24-minute I haven't listened to it in a long time because my attention span is gone now. But
I once listened to it, like, for a 4:35 a.m. flight. I was going from my hotel to the airport, and it was like perfectly, like, 22-23 minute ride or something. I was like, okay, perfect.
And then you go off to
Let's
sleep
hit
in
play
between,
as-
where it just it has all the animal, like, or whatever, the forest sounds in between. But I was like,
Yeah.
I love the song. Like, I really like that. I think they've like recently really released like
okay.
remastered version of their Pompeii
Remastered
live in
versions, okay,
Pompeii performance of this.
nice.
So I was really into Pink Floyd. I was really into Chopin especially. Like the guy was like a genius. I mean, like you can't. How can you make
I'm
one?
obsessed.
Yeah.
Before we go on, like, I have this weird as sort of hypothesis when it comes to Chopin. For some reason, I saw it being reflected in popular media and, like, generally across. So I'm not sure if this is something I picked up or this is something, like, I came up with, but Chopin's music and Van Gogh's art are often linked together.
Are they? I don't know that.
I mean, I always see it together.
Both of them
I'm
were
not
like
sure
kind
if
of
this
sad
is-
boys, right? I don't know.
There were a lot of sad boys in classical music and art, but
Chopin's
somehow, like,
contemporary was Liszt, who wasn't a sad boy. He was like all like he was like alpha male. He'd like go and like
yeah,
he'd go on stage and like be like all insane. All the panties would drop or something like that. That's what his like. That's what he's known for or something. Like he'd play like keys really fast, and
it
everyone
is,
would
yeah.
like everyone would
Pop-
have like a hard on for him, which is like. I mean,
Wow.
okay, in the
History fact, like,
in the
whenever Liszt
1800s.
used to get on screen, Yeah, no,
Um,
like like history fact. Whenever List used to perform, Panty used to drop, and people used to get a hard on. Cool. Let's move on.
no, but Chopin was kind of depressed. Yeah. He was also poor guy
Yeah.
had like tuberculosis. He died at like
Hmm.
30 or something like that. I don't know. Sad guy. I mean, he was also like he was so sad when like Poland was invaded by Russia or something like that. He
Hmm.
wrote the Revolutionary Ethiope. Like, guy had emotion. Same with Van Gogh. He was like really sad, dude. Like, I went to the Van Gogh Museum when I visited Amsterdam
Hmm.
once. I have zero art knowledge, by the way. I look show me a painting and I'll be like, okay, cool. But that's about it. Like, when I went to the thing and that museum talked a lot about his life and how he like he battled depression for a really long time. I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
obviously he killed himself, which is like really sad. Doesn't like for people who watch like have you watched Doctor Who by any chance?
Doctor, no, I
Doctor
haven't.
Who. Okay, it's. I mean, there's like a Doctor Who episode called Vincent and the Doctor.
Hmm.
It's like in one of the seasons where
Oh,
like
nice.
he goes back in time to meet Vincent Van Gogh, and it's a beautiful episode. I mean, like even if you've never seen Doctor Who, you don't need any context. You just need to watch that episode. It's such a
Hmm.
nice episode, honestly. But yeah, yeah, they were both sad boys. I think that's how people start linking their art. I personally, because I don't understand like visual art that well, like he does Starry Night and stuff.
Hmm.
I've seen Starry Night at MoMA in New York. I was like, damn, that looks like everyone and it's like wallpaper. Um,
So I'm not sure, like if it's a publicly accepted connection between the two. It's just that anytime I go up on YouTube and like try to find like a song by Chopin or like a arrangement by Chopin, so somehow like the thumbnail or the video is one of Van Gogh's painting, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's something I don't know. It just makes sense to me. I have also made that connection somehow, but okay, cool. Maybe just like Mandela effect happening to me, and all
did they
people
exist
just
in the same time? I think Chopin was like 18, like 30s, 40s types. I don't know when Van Gogh
ha.
was.
I think I am not sure if they did, but could be like maybe some overlap, but I doubt. I don't think so. Yeah, I'll get my team to check.
My
Did
research.
Chopin and Van Gogh? Yeah, did Chopin and Van Gogh exist at the same time, or were they like apart? But yeah, so continue now. Like I digress. Sorry, like I just had to bring that up because we were somehow at that topic, so I had to.
No, okay,
But
I'll condense the rest of it. Like in college, I started playing with a lot of people. I joined the IT Delhi Fusion band, and that was fun because you start getting like a lot of people I played with were Indian classical trained, so I got a lot of exposure to that. And I started listening to more music. Then I also got introduced to the concept of a DAW, and I just started like writing random stuff. I sucked at it for the longest time, but I'd still like write songs, and I just like start a project, forget about it, come back to it later. Then I just had accumulated a whole bunch of projects, and then I started grad school, and then I like life had changed really rapidly. I didn't have my instruments with me. I didn't have people to play music with, so I kind of dropped that for a bit. And then I started trying to get back into it. And during COVID, I like, compiled all of these songs that I wrote for the Space album. And I'm like, okay, but they still have MIDI guitars in them. So I'm not going to release them, right? I forgot about
hmm,
it again. Cause like for me, mixing was like not a real thing. Like I just like move things around, like
hmm,
mixing, like, and that's what it was for the long. Like that's what it has been. I've just been getting like I guess I've been getting slowly better and better at it. I think I've been getting better and
hmm,
better. But
hmm.
but then uh, last year, in like my grad residence, I went to this jam session where I started talking to this one guy, Leo, who's an extremely talented guitarist. He's a jazz guitarist. His background is like mostly jazz, but he's like he's got his like he's very articulate about the kind of music he does. He's very enthusiastic. He plays with a lot of people. So like maybe let's start like trying to make some music together and see how things go. I'm honestly like I'm surprised he even considered making music with a loser like me. But it was great. Like
Hmm.
so we tried like making like we just like made like 4 songs and we're like okay let's just like release an EP and let's see what sounds we can explore. Like we had one song that was like a city pop, one song that was like okay let me like take my like fusion band knowledge and put it into like, so like, some like slightly Indian classical fusion inspired sounds. One was very
Oh,
video
nice.
gamey. And one was like, I was
Hmm.
listening to a lot of Witch House at that point. So I was like, yeah, let me try Witch
Hmm.
House. And like, production point of view, I'm like sidechain compressing and stuff like that. And like, okay, so that, okay, I don't know how many listeners it's got. Like, I don't listen to my own music once I've released it, unless it's just like to see, okay, what was off with this that I shouldn't repeat in the next. But like, for one, like my brother is also really into music and he listens to some of the songs that I've written. And he is like my harshest critic. He just like, most of the time he's just like, this is ass, dude. Like, this is like, you don't really know, like, you just pretend to know what you do, which is true. But the fact is, like, at the end, like, there is still a few songs that he will listen to voluntarily, and I think that's like, for me,
Hmm.
that's like, that was like heartening, because like before that I never released my
Yeah, of
music
course.
at all.
Hmm.
Not because I didn't want to release it. It's just because I thought like, I like it. But it's not like good enough for anyone else to listen to. So why would I ever release it?
Hmm.
Like, and this,
Hmm.
after reading this, and now it's like, dude, we're just gonna like release one after the other. So immediately after this, Leo and I were like, okay, now we have to do an album. And it's like, we see what worked in this, and it's like, it's going to be this dance album. And it's like this dance pop thing. It's hopefully coming out in like in a week or so. It's like pending
Oh,
moderation right now.
nice. Oh, wow. Okay.
And this one I'm super proud of because we've like collaborated with like, none of us can sing for shit.
Hmm.
But we know people who can, including my brother,
Yeah.
Leo's partner, a
Hmm.
lot of some of our friends, uh, from MIT, one of my friends from undergrad. Like, so we have a bunch of people, and we've really tried to do our due diligence with this album. It was hard to record because it was all done remotely. I've been in California, he's been in Massachusetts. He wrote 4 songs, I wrote 4 songs. It's very interesting. Like his lyrics are all about like heartbreak and stuff like that. He's really happy. He's not a
And
heartbroken
yours?
person. And mine are all about
Yeah.
like aliens and ghosts and shit.
I will love it. Love it.
But it's good. In between, I also like ended up releasing that space album because like now I was just
Hmm.
like, rather than like asking people to record guitar parts for me, I don't have the patience to like get
Hmm.
after people and stuff like that. So I was like, I bought a guitar and just like tried to learn my own parts. I'm very bad at guitar. I've been playing bass guitar for like 2 years now, so I'm like, so I just recorded my own parts and I was like, cut paste karke whatever I like, and it's out. It's like, it's fine. It doesn't sound, the album doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound bad. I don't think it sounds awful. It doesn't sound great, but I'm happy it's out there because now I can just start working on new stuff. So yeah, that's
Makes sense. And this brings me to this idea because you mentioned it that you were thinking, okay, like a lot of thought went into ki if it's ready yet, like if it's there yet. So I see that happen with musicians in general a lot. That they have a lot of music written, they have it in some like somewhere in the pipeline, and they're just like it's not there yet, it's not ready yet, I need to tweak it a little bit more. And my question has always been like does that happen in the world of say academia as well, according to you, when you're but I know you mentor or like you do
so.
science outreach, things like that. So does that happen, that do you also come across people who are like,
Oh
oh,
well.
it's not there yet?
Um. No, I'll tell you the reason for that. The reason
Yeah.
for that, and the reason that you can't do something like that, this with music as much as
Mm.
I can, is because people actually give a shit about your music, and this is your job, right? So you have to do it. Like you can't be a princess about it like I am. Like, um,
But no,
but same with
that's what I'm
academia is
saying,
like,
no,
for
there
me,
are.
like we have to push
Yeah.
out papers. That is the most fucking painful part of the process. We've done the
Hmm.
experiment, we're writing, and it goes through like so many rounds of comments. And everyone's looking, and like it's like my current advisor calls it paper torture. It is torture, but we have to do it. No, yeah, it's never ready. It's always like, it's like writing a paper is something, I've been in this field for a while now, and I still don't understand
Hmm.
how a good paper is written because, let me let you in on a little secret. Most papers in physics are extremely badly written. Even though the science is great, like communicating science is such a hard
I
skill.
know.
I was lucky my grad school group had people who were very good at this, so they kind of taught me how to do some of this. Um, but it's just hard, honestly. Some like you're doing a pretty complicated, like you're doing something, like for you, you're doing music, right? And you're just trying to put your best foot forward and like, have your ideas reach people. But for you, the music does the talking. It's not a representation of some other work. The music is the work, right? For us, papers aren't the work.
Hmm.
The work is the experiment we
Okay,
did,
very interesting.
and we have to
Yeah, very
represent
interesting.
it using papers. So we need to make
Papers,
sure that
yeah. Oh, okay.
someone reading the paper like should understand what we're talking about. And that's hard because we're condensing like years. Sometimes it's years and years of work into 5 pages. You have to be very picky about
Very true,
what you
yeah,
put in there. You have to be, you can't be too basic. But you also can't be too technical because like in physics, like, and maybe this is just me, but like I go to a lot of talks, like, as like that's part of your bread and butter as being in academia is actually just
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
seminars and conferences. I hear people talk, and I don't think I understand most of them. Like because people's research is so specific, and I
Yeah.
like really try, but then a lot of the times giving a talk, I'm just like, I'm just out, I'm just like, the moment if I look at my phone for like a split second, I've lost track of the talk, and I'm like, okay, this talk is gone.
But yeah, no, I relate to this because it's such a big world when it comes to like just physics or mathematics that it's very difficult to even cross communicate sometimes between like two slightly different areas of the same field. And like music, it's still easier, I feel, but there are sometimes like instances of this when like maybe a jazz musician sits down with a pop musician and they're like what is this guy saying, and the jazz musician is like, this is so basic. I mean, come on. So sort of like that, but on a whole
Jazz musicians sound like the
grand
theoretical physicists of the music world. And it's insufferable as fuck. That's joke.
like I have very different feelings about theoretical physics, for honestly, but yeah, I share your
That's good. You
feelings
should have
about
good
jazz
feelings.
music.
Yeah, I'm just a professional hater. I'm just like,
Yeah, no, like, but that's what I'm saying. I agree with your feelings about jazz
like
musicians, though. So
So my thing is like I'm generally like a very happy person right now, and I'm like I love humanity, I love humans, I love people, and now once I know that, now I can
oh, you
hate.
do? Okay.
Now I can hate freely. Now I can hate freely. No,
Wow.
when I've like prefaced it with the fact that like I generally believe in humanity. I like people a lot. I am very deeply appreciative of people's influences on me and stuff like that. That being said, now I can be a hater because it's funnier to be a hater.
This is very different from how I function. I'm just generally very
तू
cynical
अच्छा
about
इंसान है यार, तू
humans
अच्छा
and like,
इंसान, but तू अच्छा इंसान
अच्छा
है.
नहीं
You
हूँ
you
भाई.
treat people well.
That's the difference. I treat people well, but I may not be like very generally not a very I don't condone human lives that much. I don't value
Hey,
them that
ऐसा मत
much,
बोल
like
यार.
being
Humans created
that's the
anime,
true,
bro.
man. Like,
Humans created Dantadan. Like, come on. Without
I'm
humans,
I'm I am very
you wouldn't have
specific.
any of the anime you watch. Just like,
I agree, but like I'm very choosy and picky about my human interactions, honestly. So yeah, I see you and I can talk about this at length. I have like just very couple of
हाँ,
few
ठीक है.
rapid fire sort of
Yes,
thingies for you
you're the boss.
that we
Like, you
can
can
do.
stop me from just rambling at any point. Bhai. I'm like, I woke up and I'm like, I'm talking to a friend.
I
I'm so happy.
I know, right? And I love rambling, man. So like
हाँ,
I
तेरा
can't
नाम है
stop
ना
either.
Eternal
But
Ramblings. Yes, let's
exactly,
go.
I have to stay true to my name. But cool. Let's do this fun rapid fire
Yes,
sort
sir.
of a segment, and then we'll schedule another huge sort of talk, maybe like a couple months later again, because I want to do this more. Yeah. So okay, so I'm winging this, by the way. So
If
let's do
you
this.
you have notes,
Um,
bhai, I don't have shit.
I'm not doing this through my notes, but like
I'm just saying
I'm just winging it,
you're
but,
saying
like-
you're winging it. What am I doing?
Okay. Observation or measurement?
What the fuck
Pick
does
one.
that mean, bro? No, okay.
Fair enough. I'm being vague.
We say measurement in our field. We don't say observation that much. Observation is more like a theorist thing. You observe something happening. For us, it's a measurement because measurements, like, especially now in atomic physics, they're like two. Okay, measurement. Fuck. I'm not going to go into a long thing about this.
Let's go.
There's like strong measurements and weak measurements. Strong measurements give you all the information about a state while destroying it completely. And that's how atomic physics works. You want to know if an atom is on the ground or excited state, you need to shine a bright laser at it. And then it'll glow, it'll fluoresce, but then it's lost. So you know what it was, but at the cost of of just losing the state completely. On the other hand, you have like weak measurements, which are basically, if you want to know the position of something like really well, you shine a laser on it and then have it interfere with itself. So now you're like continuously measuring it without actually destroying it. But to make a better measurement with less noise, you have to put more laser, and more laser means actually like more radiation pressure on the mirror, which means that the better you try to make your measurement, the more destructive it is. It gives rise to something cool called the standard quantum limit. It's all in my thesis. It's all in my defense. It's like, you guys, like, though there's some cool science there. But basically, measurement. Observation, I think,
Okay.
observation in my community, I think it more relates to astronomy. Like, we made observations of something. I think this is like I'm sure there's like precise definitions, but I think vibes based. Observation is something you don't have that much control over, while measurement is like a perfectly controlled thing. And my field is precision measurement, so I'm like measuring things precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Physics or mathematics? I mean, like,
Physics.
Again, you will say like, physics is
Ah.
cool. Didn't have to think so much.
Math people are
Okay.
insane.
Why? I love math people. Like, I have interacted with a very few
They're
of
crazy.
them, but yeah.
They're like they're crazy. One of my best friends is a math guy, but like they're crazy. They're always just proving shit. Like they're not actually getting anything done. They're like, I see something and I'm going to move on. Like, I'm going to like, okay, where do I take this now? They're like, oh, but how do we prove it? And like, all their papers have like theorem 1, proof 1, lemma 1, whatever.
This brings me to the next one. Theoretical physics or experimental physics. I know you're biased, but
any day, bro.
but I need your reason for this now.
You don't have lasers in theoretical physics, dude. Like, that's my reason. I've got lasers, I've
Fair
got
enough
strong
reason.
magnetic fields. I measure like the gravitational redshift at a centimeter scale. And the thing is, okay, also,
Nice
let me
flex there.
let you
Okay,
know another secret, okay? The friend I'm staying with, he's a theorist. I'm gonna be a little low while saying this, but like,
Fair enough.
experimentalists all are expected to know a baseline level of theory. You can't do experiment without knowing like,
Yeah,
stuff.
of
So, like,
course,
I
of
can go
course,
and
yeah.
talk to people and like, yeah, quasi crystals and stuff.
I
This thing has
I
like
also know where this is going.
this thing has like rotational symmetry and stuff like that. This is what like theoretical physicists talk about. Like, yeah, my Hamiltonian has like a nonlinear term and stuff like that. Theorists don't know jack shit about experiments. Like, it's like you show them a screwdriver and they'll be like, yeah, IKEA se laaya kya to?
Love it. So yeah, nice. This was a nice talk. So everybody, this was Dr. Dhruva, one of my closest friends. You'll see him way more often because I just love yapping with him. So
I'm kind of funny,
But
right?
for now,
I'm kind of
we'll-
funny, right? I'm kind of funny now.
yeah, of course you are.
I just.
Right? But before we cut this short, I want you to tell people where they can find your music. What's coming up next with your music in the
Okay.
recent times?
So
And we've already discussed your thesis where they can find
my
that.
Insta handle is like the most boring ever. It's just my last name, first name. So it's just like Ganapathy, Ganapathy, Dhruva Dhruva. So that you'll find links to my solo album. That my band's name is Parrot Police. It's PP.
Parrot
That's
Police.
why we call it Parrot Police. As
PP is easy to remember for people.
yeah,
I
Parrot
think, so
Police.
yeah, guys, Parrot Police.
I'm not a police person, but I don't believe in police. But like it's a funny name to have. So yeah, so Parrot Police is a band. I have a YouTube channel. Just search my name. It doesn't have that much. It has my Parrot Police stuff. It has my solo album. It has my thesis defense.
Nice.
And it has some covers that I had put out a few years ago. That just search my name, Dhruva Ganapathy. I actually have a Google card that comes up. You search my name, it says the researcher. I'm
Oh,
like,
nice.
oh, I'm a celebrity now.
We'll put that up.
I'm a celebrity. I say researcher. I'm not like. But like, yeah, another place like you go to Google Scholar, search my name, you'll find a whole list of papers. If you want to follow my scientific work.
Amazing.
Especially
Yes.
faculty search committee is. Do you think faculty search committees are listening to this?
I don't think so just yet.
Okay,
maybe
but-
we'll
okay,
s-
it's
make them
like-
listen to it.
If okay, so you have to do it, now your job is marketing, so you market to faculty, right?
Yes.
You have to market to professors, and my message is, guys, job do none. I want to be a professor. I swear, I want to be a professor. I'll be a really good professor. I have like some ideas and stuff now.
I think you will be a very good professor. I
I
agree
don't
with
know
that
about
notion,
that.
for
But,
sure.
like, you have to convince these guys. That, like, and cut this part out.
See, you'll be a fun professor in my opinion. Like, somebody that students will look forward to. Okay, ठीक है, like, Dr. Dhruva's class, like, let's go, like, he'll crack some jokes and, like, make some controversial comments along the way. It'll be a fun class. Let's go. But yeah, coming back to it, thank you so much, Dhruva. I'll talk
Thanks,
to you
man.
really,
It
really
was
soon.
so cool talking to
Yeah.
you. Like, talking to you is always great, yeah.
Definitely.
And Dandadan second
I
season, we
look
need to
forward to it, man.
discuss.
I mean, the moment it's online, the moment the season airs, we'll watch it together and, like, just keep each other accountable on that one,
Yes.
because I think we'll need that. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Sure.
Chalo.
Thanks
I'll
a lot,
see you
bhai.
soon.
Bye
Yeah.
bye.
No worries. So that was Dhruva Ganapathy discussing physics, music, anime, and so much more. And you're watching KAPOW Plus, where a rock band collides with the rest of the world. So now we'll take things into the fun segment part. And before we get into that, we'll bring in a song which combines our world with Dr. Dhruva Ganapathy's world. It's called Sex Singularity, where we have taken the liberty of combining physics, mathematics, and music in a weird concoction of some sort. So here's Sex Singularity by KAPOW.
You and me, we're like two stars colliding in the heat of the moment. The passion's rising. Your body's like a magnet pulling me in. Can resist temptation. With you, I begin in this sex singularity. We are lost in time, hearts in harmony, bodies intertwined. In search of sensual pain, leisure we can find. Sexual universe, love and lust combined. Sex singularity, our bodies intertwined, hearts beating faster as we leave the world behind. Reach the point of no return, nothing holding back. Sexual universe, it's a world of mine. You taste like a nectar, sweet, wild and addictive. You move like a dancer, driving me insane. Our bodies gravitating in this infinite space, exploring sensations, worries erased. In this sex singularity, we are lost in time, hearts in harmony, bodies intertwined. In search of sensual pain, pleasure we can find. Sexual universe, it's a world of mine. Energies align as we move in a rhythm, breathless and sweaty. Our love's a season, we're caught up in the moment, nothing else matters. Reaching for the climax, our souls begin to shatter. In this sex singularity, we are lost in time, hearts in harmony, bodies intertwined. In search of sensual pain, pleasure we can find. Sexual universe, it's a world of mine. Sex singularity, we are lost in time, hearts in harmony, bodies intertwined.
Call the fireman, cause it's time for rapid fire round with Kapow. Take it over, Vinod, यहाँ से और मेरे को कुछ नहीं आता भाई इसके आगे.
Each member gets 3 questions and they have to answer fast.
तेरा रैपिड फायर नहीं है, रुक जा आराम से.
To answer fast and without thinking, obviously. ठीक है? So the first question goes for
You have
Saira.
to be slow and think. We have to be fast and don't have to think. Rapid fire हमारा है.
First question goes for Saira. Who smells the worst after the set?
Mayank.
Okay. Second question, Mayank. Why are you like this?
मम्मी पापा से पूछ के बताता हूँ.
Okay. Prakhar. Replace your band's name with a food item. What is it?
क्या होता है रैपिड फायर में? पूरी. कपाव पूरी. कपाव भाजी.
Kapow bhaji.
Ritik. Who would pretend to play on mute when they forget their parts?
सारा.
कर रखा है मैंने बहुत बार. No one figured it out yet.
क्योंकि nobody cares about the bass. Anyway.
I mean, most of these questions are based on true stories. So, okay, Saira, who would 100% cry if their phone died at the gig? You. True.
Vinod.
That is true.
Vinod.
The answer is not you. Listeners should know. The name
Arora.
is Vinod.
Okay, Mayank, who's the parent of the group and who's the chaos?
पापा प्रखर, मम्मा मयंक, हमारे 3 बच्चे. chaos तो पर chaos तो depends on the type of chaos. देखो ये
मैं adopted हूँ clearly.
ये किसी दिन हमें पिटवाएगा और तेरी वजह से तो बस नुकसान होता है विनोद.
You know, टाइम से घर चले जाना सब.
हाँ, ठीक. Okay. Prakhar, one bandmate who will definitely forget a chord change and gaslight the group.
खुद का नाम ले सकते हैं.
वो chord change प्रखर करके क्या करेगा? प्रखर.
मेरे ड्रम्स में जो टॉम पे स्ट्रिंग्स लगी है ना उस
बट देख अगर तू अपना पार्ट बोलता है ना तो गैसलाइट तो बहुत करता है. मैंने बनाया ही नहीं था ये तो था ही नहीं.
That is not true.
ये तो ऐसे ही होना था.
It is true. Just मैं improvise कर रहा था.
But to answer the question, विनोद.
Saira.
नहीं भाई विनोद.
हाँ, Saira.
वो व्यक्ति मानती है तू
क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है क्वेश्चन पूछ.
अच्छा.
ऋतिक से क्वेश्चन पूछ.
Ritik, one of you has to win a dance battle to save the band. Who's going in?
सारा.
Wait.
You have to do a step for the audience.
Oh, yes.
ओए मेरा कुछ स्टेप क्यों चुरा रही है?
अपनी अंगूठा दिखा.
ना कैसे बनी कैसे
Me and my darling flying in a plane.
First thing you will do when you wake up as me. किससे पूछ रहा है? Saira से.
Throw your
go back to sleep.
Good one.
Massive respect.
Good one.
Okay, man. Name one anime you can watch for the rest of your life.
Your line, April.
Cartoon you can. Good one.
Which one?
Your line, April.
Okay. Why are you lying in April? Why are you lying in April, man?
I'll see you.
What will you watch for the other 11 months?
Prakhar, eat a biryani with raisins in it or marry Ritik.
Marry Ritik. अरे सी यार मुझे मंजूरी नहीं है. ये मेरे कंसेंट के खिलाफ हो रहा है जो भी हो रहा है.
Ritik, flights or trains? But with trains with chipkalis in it.
Trains with chipkalis in it. Any day.
Oh my god.
अगर तुझे किसी
Very
ने
nice.
ट्रेन की बाथरूम में बंद कर दिया चिपकली के साथ, what will you?
अच्छा एक सेकंड. तू एक दिन सुबह उठे शीशे में देखे और तू छिपकली है.
अरे काफका मेटामॉर्फोसिस बहुत डिफरेंट. कॉकरोच की जगह चिपकली.
फिर क्या दिक्कत अगर मैं ही छिपकली हूं तो? बट लोग तेरे से भाग रहे हैं. ना भागने तो मुझे क्या दिक्कत.
Okay, Saira. Who's most likely to forget the gear on the day of the gig?
3, 2, 1.
विनोद.
ये पूछो विनोद क्या नहीं भूला है.
My one bandmate who gets cranky when hungry.
3, 2, 1.
विनोद.
Now this is not a rapid fire round. This is just a bully round, guys.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
उनको तो मिले नहीं और क्वेश्चन.
चलो पूछ लेते हैं. एक और बनाते हैं. Okay. Your band's vibe if it were a government scheme.
बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ, बेटी को कपाव के शो पे लेके जाओ, बेटी लमाओ योजना.
और इसका मिनिस्टर कौन होगा?
मैं नाम नहीं लेना चाहता. कैंसिल हो जाएंगे हम फिर से.
Okay, Ritik, last question.
हाँ.
Out of 5 of us, who would survive in the zombie apocalypse and who would die? Saving their instrument.
Saving their instrument.
हाँ.
By I think everyone would die, bro. Huh? He will survive because what instrument does he have?
अपने आप को बचाऊंगा ना.
गला खींच के इंस्ट्रूमेंट तो वही है इसका.
सर उसको इंस्ट्रूमेंट है ना, सर्वाइवल स्किल्स की बात हो रही है.
हाँ,
तो ये बोलना.
चल ठीक है. Who will survive in a zombie apocalypse out of the 5 of us?
I think no one. My answer stays the same.
I think ये तीनों तो गए, हम दोनों कुछ ना कुछ कर लेंगे.
नहीं, I think तुम दोनों नहीं बचोगे because हम तीनों
क्योंकि यही एटीट्यूड तुम्हें लेट डूबेगा.
वो और दूसरा हम तीनों को तुम पक्का बचाने की कोशिश तो करोगे.
नहीं मुझे नहीं लगता मुझे.
बिल्कुल भी. We just have to outrun the rest of you. That we can do.
अगर किसी शॉप में ड्रमस्टिक्स और तू बिक रहा है, तू फ्री में है, मैं पैसे देके ड्रमस्टिक खरीदूंगा.
यार इंस्ट्रूमेंट ज्यादा हुआ है.
We'll have the roast round in one of the episodes.
मैं तेरे को गिरवी के सामान लेके आऊंगा.
With this, we are coming end of the round. We are coming to the end of the round.
Are we? Was it that exciting?
We are coming to the end of the round, and this was the rapid fire round. And I think you guys definitely know the band much more than before. And with this, I think we're coming to the last song. Oh no, second last song for the episode. Which one is it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
I think you don't know. So Vinod ये भी भूल गया. So guys, let's go to the next song before we say goodbye to you all. So let's play one of our songs called Underwater Road Trip.
Top down, clear skies, the cool breeze on my elbow off the door. Her hair smells fresher than the green grass racing up the road. Oh, Mary Jane, your fire red says, let's run away. Oh, run away. A carefree laughing tangle legs stretched out of denim shots up on the dash. Tats on the neck, her face with Rex and a tongue that's a little rash. She leans in for a kiss, and all my thoughts blow up in smoke. Down we go, riding drops of air, sending ripples to the shore. Swimming with the whales on a dusty road. The blackest eyes call me in, her smirk is drawing me onto her lips. She's in her backless dress, drawing circles with her heels on the floor. Oh Lucy, you have your own ways, strangest ways. She runs her tender fingers through the hem and she gives me a subtle teasing glance. Her gaze turns me inside out, reaching out and her hand flows on my face. Skins and lace were melting away. Down we go, riding drops of air, sending ripples to the shore. Swimming with the whales on a dusty road.
Alright, and that wraps up today's episode of KAPOW Plus. Big shout out to Dhruva for great insights. It was truly a pleasure having you on the show. It won't be a stretch to say that I know more about physics now more than I could learn in school. Hopefully, we were able to give you a little sneak peek into KAPOW and our music. And by the way, I wasn't ready for that chaotic rapid fire round. I don't know about you, Saira, but it was a great fun.
So if you guys had fun, make sure to follow us on Instagram. It's Kapow Time. And check out our music on Spotify. You can search KAPOW Kapow with the exclamation mark. Very important. And big shout out to Rukus Avenue Radio for making this podcast possible.
And please stay tuned for the next episode, which will be revealed very soon. There are a lot more to reveal, lot more to learn, and lot more to sing along to. Thank you.
बहकी सी जो ये बातें हैं, तंगी में हम गाते हैं, हाँ मगर दिल को ये बहलाती है। अकेली सी जो ये रातें हैं, दिल को यूं सताती है, हाँ मगर सुकून की नींद आती है। मुलाकातें हैं, आंखें तेरी झाके हैं, ढूंढे उसे जो यादों में आती है। जेबों में भी जाले हैं, शौक फिर भी पाले हैं, फिक्र नहीं जो हमें डराती है। जिस पे बीती मेरी छोटी सी ये जिंदगी, कुछ है मिला और कुछ नहीं, फिर भी चेहरे पे प्यारी सी रहती एक हंसी। ये आसमान वो ज़मीन, जिस पे बीती मेरी छोटी सी ये जिंदगी, कुछ है मिला Sure enough, you ain't expecting the mad dogs tonight, eh? Now watch them roll. Break the door. We out of here. Load it in. Don't get too near. On your knees. Unfaithful liars. Gonna make you obey. When the bullets fire. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doors inside the door. I'm a ticking time bomb. Run away, run away. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you wanna just to fuck